There are more than 250,000 homeless folks in Los Angeles County. That's the largest population of any metropolitan area in the country. Most of the county's homeless are found in downtown LA, like out here on Skid Row. Set against the backdrop of the city's towering downtown skyline sits one of Los Angeles Unified School District's many high schools, and a towering problem facing LAUSD. Graduating senior Nora Perez is part of this problem as she fights an uphill battle every day. Nora is one of the nearly 15,000 homeless students in the district. Sadly, there are hundreds, if not thousands more, who are unidentified at LAUSD. For Nora, her life deteriorated quickly. Nora's father lost his job when she was a freshman. Her family was kicked out of their house. From there, she was shuttled all over the city, sometimes living on the street over the last 4 years, mostly in the back of a car or truck she called home. This was Nora's living room and bedroom. This was where she did her homework each day.
At that point, I thought everything was falling apart completely. That I was losing everything that I had with me. It was just too much pain at that point, and I felt like giving up.
Nora says she battled loneliness, isolation, and shame. She says she didn't want to tell any of her friends and classmates for fear they'd find out she was homeless.
You don't have your own room, you don't have your own bed, you don't even know where to shower. And it was really difficult. It was really difficult, and it brings tears to my eye because going through all this pain, going through all those moments, all those cold nights, that I looked at my parents and saw their pain in their face.
That pain motivated Nora to look for help within the school district, and she found it. That's because LAUSD has a special homeless education program designed to provide assistance to homeless students and their families. It's part of a nationwide effort through the McKinney-Vento Homeless Assistance Act, which is part of No Child Left Behind, passed in the late 1990s and reauthorized in 2002. McKinney-Vento ensures that our nation's students who are homeless get a chance at an education just like any other student, with the same opportunities to succeed academically. Nancy Gutierrez is a coordinator of LAUSD's homeless education program. You can often find Gutierrez out here on Skid Row, working with various organizations in the area, providing help to kids all over LA County. And that's a daunting task, given the school district's huge geographic region, which spans 200 square miles and almost 700,000 students in total. Another challenge is the fact that the majority of those students are Hispanic. Same for the homeless students. This dynamic complicates matters for the district, which oftentimes has to deal with a language barrier from families within the Latino community or homeless youth who are undocumented, like Nora, and fear being deported. Yet when they're struggling to just survive, those obstacles can seem minor at times.
Some of the barriers that our students experience range from the minimal to not having school supplies, the basic needs that these students don't have. They sometimes don't even have a toothbrush, toothpaste, a washcloth to wash themselves. Some of them are living in cars, and giving them just a basic backpack with notebook and paper to be able to do their schoolwork just like any other student. Also sometimes not being able to get to school. They may not be in a regular home situation, at a shelter far away from their school, so we help them with transportation services to get to and from school.
In addition to the bus passes, school supplies, and basic staples, the program also gives homeless students things like clothes, shoes, team uniforms, and more. Housing is the one thing LA Unified cannot provide. In Los Angeles, there is a tremendous shortage of affordable or low-income housing, the major contributor to homelessness here. Each year, LAUSD, like school districts all across the country, sets aside specific dollars for student homeless programs generated from federal funding under what's called Title I. This past year, Los Angeles Unified dedicated about $1 million for their program. However, Gutierrez explains that's not nearly enough money to provide for the district's homeless students.
LAUSD and many districts nationwide are faced with budgetary issues, and we're unable to get the resources that we need. So that's also why our component of working with the community is really crucial. We have formed partnerships with the City of Los Angeles to have matching funds, and we work with independent organizations, even banks and individuals in the community, to have grants and sponsorships so that we can make sure we get also private funds so that we can provide all of the services necessary. Because as you can imagine, even just providing a backpack to 15,000 students is a huge cost.
One of the organizations LAUSD partners with is School on Wheels on Skid Row. School on Wheels is a nonprofit learning center in downtown LA, which provides tutoring and mentoring to kids in kindergarten through 12th grade. The organization has nearly 2,000 volunteers who are the heart and soul of this project, volunteers who travel to motels, shelters, or just cars on the street in some of the worst LA neighborhoods to help children.
Our goal is to find the gaps in the education of homeless students and fill in those gaps, help those students catch up. It's difficult because every time there's a new student that we match up with a volunteer tutor and we see what we can do for those students and we see them succeed in school, there's another family right behind them that needs our help. And that's what we've been seeing over the years, is just a constant, steady increase in the number of homeless families, and that makes our work that much more challenging.
Dr. Deborah Duardo knows of these challenges. Dr. Duardo is the executive director of LAUSD's Student Health and Human Services Department. Duardo helps oversee 14 LA Unified Wellness Centers throughout the city. The centers partner with the Homeless Education Program to provide medical services and mental health help.
Homeless students and families have a lot of instability in their lives, and it's very difficult for them to access services that they need. Basic services such as health care are one of the services that students need to have in order to be successful in school.
Dr. Duardo says the homeless kids she sees have a wide array of health issues, everything from depression and drug abuse to asthma and vision problems. However, the bigger problem is just trying to get the students here in the first place.
The first thing that they have to deal with is the stigma of being homeless. So oftentimes children don't want to share that information. We don't always know which of our students are homeless because they aren't always forthcoming with that information. There's a big stigma, they're embarrassed, they feel humiliated, and so even if they need services or there's access to services, sometimes we don't know about it if they're not willing to share that information.
Fortunately for Nora, she was willing to share her information. Nora is now one of 100 homeless students graduating this week at the Los Angeles Unified School District, graduating from a district that has one of the highest homeless student graduation rates in the country.
But every time I try to give up, I think about it, and I'm like, you know what, no, I'm not gonna give up. Now that I accomplished so many things, I'm not gonna give up.
That high school you saw there in the story is Roybal Learning Center. Now, Nora told me she eventually wants to apply to college if possible. Of course, right now it's difficult with her undocumented status, and she wants to be, of all things, an FBI agent. If you want to help out the homeless students of LAUSD, whether it's simply volunteering or giving donations, or you just want more information, the website is homelesseducation.lausd.net. Again, that's homelesseducation.lausd.net.